Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this very special edition of our Sunday morning live stream, which is brought to you today in association with DAG Museums. We are very pleased to be collaborating with the DAG, least of all because we have been following what they do for a while. DAG Museum, in case you don't know, is among India's leading art companies with one of the largest collections of Indian art globally. In fact, one of the highly celebrated exhibitions, the Ghode Vaide exhibition, was here in Kolkata in the Currency Building in Dalhousie Square, which Shoptash and I also went to see. Actually, it was quite lovely. So DAG Museum's mission has always been to make art more accessible to all, so which involves really bringing it out of formal gallery spaces into the public. And to that end, every year for the past 2 years, they have been organizing a week-long arts and heritage festival called The City as a Museum, through which they conduct unique walks, performances, workshops, and so on. Our live stream today is a part of that effort, where we take the idea of the city as a museum to a step further to consider the kitchen as a museum. So a place where beautiful art and objects have always been created. And we have several props here for you today. We have Goina Bori, which Shoptashi will actually draw live on camera today. We have Shondesh, Narkole Shondesh. We have a thala of assorted vegetables. It is all going to make perfect sense, I promise you. It may seem random at now, but it will all make sense. And that is because to speak about all of this, we have with us today the Art of Idea in the Kitchen. We have with us today development consultant and food historian, Pritha Sen. Pritha Di is joining us today from Singapore, where she is currently curating a menu at one of its leading fine dining restaurants, Indian fine dining restaurants. Pritha Di's work, as you may know, is on the regional cuisines of Eastern India with a special focus on undivided Bengal. Good morning, Pritha Di. Kemon acho?
used to eavesdrop on her son's, tuitions, and she would practice the letters of the alphabet on the blackened kitchen walls. Because education was forbidden to women of her status at that time. So nobody could know that she was teaching herself to read and write, and that finally she could read and write. So she would practice them on the blackened kitchen walls. Now, this itself tells us uh, a, a very, very poignant and it's historical, it's sociological, and it's also, a very, very poignant narrative of our times. So, and of course, politically, we all know of the many, many intrigues that were, hatched in a kitchen, conspiracies, and, poisonings. You know, those stories are also very interesting. And, and finally, we come to the kitchen showcasing expression, showcasing talent, showcasing instinct, showcasing an entire, you know, uh, 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 the entire package that makes an artist. The palettes that make an artist, and that is what kitchens showcase. The various nuances, the textures, the aromas, the fragrances, visuality of it all, of food. It's very important, and the emotions. At one time, what was termed was that the kitchen was the private domain of the woman, and it had two parts to it: the private domain and the public domain. The public domain was where it was the male cooks who brought out the food, who cooked the food. But that was considered devoid of love, affection, feeling, emotion. It was only the woman in the kitchen who could deliver all of this on a platter, which made it akin to a work of art. So that is why the kitchen as a museum is a very, very interesting topic to pick up today.
Thank you. So, you also wanted to, I think, talk about the tradition of Bori and especially Goyana Bori and or Naksha Bori in Bengal. Uh, so we have, I have been trying to make, as you know, Goyana Bori for the last week. These are still very amateurish attempts, uh,
I don't
but
think so. They're beautiful.
they're okay. I mean, these are the ones that have survived. I made many batches. Anyway, so I'm going to also attempt to make some today live and hope I will not make a fool of myself while you talk about Goinaburi.
Okay. So Goinaburi, well, this art or craft, as you may term it, uh, uh, you know, was a speciality of the women of East Midnapur. Um, the earliest records are from the 19th century. We don't have much information about them before that, but I have a feeling, and this is a completely my personal opinion, that the European styles of piping icing onto cakes may have had something to do with the special technique that was developed of soaking mort beans or urad dal and grinding it to a paste and adding just a little salt to it, making a batter, a very, very fluffy batter, and then piping out designs on a bed of poppy seeds. The poppy seeds made sure that they didn't stick to the, and it was, they were piped onto traditionally onto uh, uh, bamboo sieve like bamboo mats,
Match, huh?
and yeah, and oiled bamboo mats so that they could be lifted easily. And the poppy seeds also added flavor and extra crunch when the goina boris were fried. Now, the patterns of the goina bori also came from the Alpona art of Bengal. It was translated into kitchen art. uh, Alpana art of Bengal, paisley designs and flowers, fruits, animals. The many such designs were the finest, though, were the ones that looked like filigree jewelry. Tiara ornaments, tiaras which came from possibly Durga's tiara, and the piping was very interesting. It was made with rustic cones of uh, cloth with a rustic nozzle, which later affluent women they kind of got metal nozzles made, and I
Like the one
believe
we're
some,
using today.
like the one you're using today, and I believe some ladies, affluent ladies, even got them made in gold. Huh? So let's watch you piping it out. Then I'll continue.
Okay.
That's a rather practiced hand.
My hands are shaking also because I am on camera and I know there are at least 100 people watching.
So you see, it's about precision,
Yeah.
and the designs come from, artistic talent. Abanindranath Thakur, Nandalal Bose, they were all very, very taken up with the Goinaburi. And a student of Rabindranath Thakur from Midnapur in studying in Vishwabharati had once gifted him tea doilies made
Oh.
with Goinaburi patterns, lacy tea doilies made of Goinaburi, and Tagore was completely taken by it. I mean, this is the essence of and the epitomizes the art, the folk art that exists in Bengal in the kitchen. And well, I'd like to give you one more nugget of information about the Goinavari. Is that in 1954, Goinabaris were displayed at the 59th Kolani Convention of the Indian National Congress.
Oh.
So this is an art form that we must revive. It has a lot of history and a lot of cultural significance. It used to be, the ladies of Mednipur started it, and then it was taken up by the affluent in Bengal. It used to be sent in at, for on trousseaus, wedding trousseaus to the groom's house at Goinabori. Special guests, when they came, they were given these exquisite Goinaboris on their platters. It was completely food meets finery
Hmm.
on a platter. Huh? And
Even
it
even
was
in daily life now, like we have been making these boris. So just frying up a body with your tea, afternoon tea, it feels so decadent.
feels recondite, and you're eating art.
Yes.
It's edible art. So we have instances of things like this all the time in the kitchen, that it's edible art.
I was also talking to my Jethu yesterday. And he mentioned that growing up in Kolkata, he hadn't actually heard of Goina Bori until very recently.
Yes,
So this is
because it
definitely not a
has.
Kolkata thing.
It's not a Kolkata thing. It's
Hmm.
like I said, it's Medinipur,
Yeah.
and it was adapted, and taken by other households in other areas, and in the very affluent Kolkata households. Like I said, that some ladies even got the nozzle made in gold. Huh?
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
it was time consuming. So it was not possible for we do body making, which are initially quick blobs.
Yes.
Huh? There are no artistry involved in that. The artistry lies in the taste of the body in that case.
Yes.
Huh? But here, the visual delight that takes, and it does depend on the artistic instincts of a person. And Shaptoshi, you're obviously a very, very talented and skilled artist in the kitchen, as I can see.
I think these Goina Boris are nowadays available in Kolkata also. They're sold in shops. So I think,
But I mean,
yeah,
there are goinaburis and there are goinaburis.
right.
And they are very fragile. The ones that
Yes.
are top class are extremely fragile. The lighter and finer you make it, the more obviously your skill is. And then they're also decorated with red
Yes.
lentils, masoor dal, with
Oh.
onion seeds. Huh? Sometimes many innovative cooks have colored them, and I've read somewhere that the blue pea flower juice,
Oh. Okay. Aparajita.
used, aporajita, used to be used to color it. Give it a lovely hue. So, and then when you look at it, you don't feel like frying it and eating it up. In my kitchen, so many goina bodies have gone to waste because insects have gotten into it, because I couldn't bear to eat them.
Yeah. Okay. I think that is enough Goina Bori for this day.
It's lovely.
Why don't you show some of the finished ones?
I think I did. Yeah. These are the ones that are dried.
So I'm going to fry some now for us.
Uh, we'll see.
The choptashi, when I come to Kolkata, I want these as gifts.
Yes, yes. And I will put them on posto, unlike the ones I did just now.
Acha, yeah. Yeah, you
Okay.
have to.
So these are, I'll show you few of the shapes. So, yeah. So one is this. It's like almost like a pan pata or a mango leaf.
Mm.
And then we have one which is like a, almost like a
I have a earring, silver,
earring.
very, very similar.
And then there is another one which is more symmetric.
Mm. Bouty, choker, এরম সব designs এ হতো. We had designs like this.
Hmm. So I think, as Insia said earlier, we do these live streams every month, but this is a special live stream that is being done in collaboration with DAG Museums as part of the City as a Museum event, which is going on right now. So we have Shumana joining us from DAG to talk more about the event. Hello, Shumana.
Hi. Hi. Hi, Shakushi. Hi, Pritha
Hello,
Sen. Hi,
hello.
Insia. Thank you so much for being a part of the City as a Museum. It's really
It's
been
our
wonderful to
pleasure.
see you going up with it and remind us also, like Pritha said, of Abanindranath and his studies of the Alpona and how all of these influences then crept into what we think of as fine art or high art sometimes, but these differences are so meaningless in some ways. And that's what City as a Museum shows us. So if you permit me, I'll just go on a whirlwind tour of the last few days of what happened at City as a Museum. The City as a Museum has been going on for, this is the 10th day now, and this is the finale program for City as a Museum. Today is the last day. And we've been traveling across Kolkata and even beyond to other parts of Bengal in search of these lesser known treasure troves of art. This has really shown us is that really what Pritha said in the beginning, that often our homes and our kitchens, even become the starting point of these repositories of history or these stories or places of creative expression. So we've really found that. So I'll just take you to some of the places that we've been to very quickly. We actually went to a lot of house museums, or the homes of artists. So many families were very generous enough to let us into their spaces. So the first one of the ones that we went to was the home of the artist Shanu Lahiri. She was a pioneering woman artist. She's no more, but her family is taking that legacy forward. And we were able to see her artworks, which are strewn across the house. Her archives, her home was a space for gathering artists, musicians, writers. Her brothers were writers and artists themselves. So we saw some of these wonderful personal items and heard these stories from her family members who are doing the tough job of archiving this now. And what we really learned from this, and again, an extension of what Prithati said, is that, when we were looking around the house, we saw that every single surface had become a place where she had made a doodle or she had done a drawing. And, in fact, she published a cookbook called Table. And it just reminds us that, especially for women, the kitchen is an extension of that creative practice. And for most artists, their work is not confined to the canvas or to the painting that they're making. And this was when we went to look at the home of Chinta Monikor, and he's a sculptor, and his wife Amina Kaur was also a sculptor. And right around the house, this image is a bird sanctuary. So a part of their work and a part of their contribution was also to save this bird sanctuary. And through the visit to their home, which is in Narendrapur, so at that time it was kind of in a rural area, and to this bird sanctuary, we learned about the connection between art and nature and how artists connect with the world around us as a source of their creative inspiration. Another very important house museum, which I hope many of us can visit in Kolkata, but we often don't end up going to, is the home of the scientist J.C. Bose, and next to it the Bose Institute, and he called this the Temple of Science. But every single detail, like look at this door, so every single detail also tells us about how he valued art and how he thought that art can provide the values and the ideals, which drive his scientific inquiry. So these are all exquisitely designed by artists like Nandalal Bose. If you look at the next image, we're standing in his study, and right on top are these frescoes, which were painted by Nandalal Bose and his students. So this house museum is a must visit. And another important patron of the arts, like J.C. Bose, were the Tagores, and in this case, we're looking at the home of the Paturia Ghata Tagores. Our festival actually opened there, and we looked at how this family contributed to supporting the arts in the late 19th and early 20th century, theatre, music, visual arts, and we spoke to Pramod Mohan Tagore, who's the current sort of inheritor of this legacy, about how he's trying to take this forward. He's also a sarod player, so we had a wonderful sarod recital here. So somehow, we were connected back to this time of this very rich community of artists, but also other, artists from other fields like music, theatre, literature, but also this network of patrons, supporters, philanthropists who helped and nurtured the arts. So this was a wonderful evening. And when we're talking about, going to all these homes gave us a sense of how art was created and the communities within which it flourished. But we also wondered, how this art was circulated. How did everyday people have access to these collections or these artworks, or even the debates that were raging in the art world? And that took us to Uttarpara, to the Uttarpara Joy Krishna Library. And the pages of their periodicals give a sense of how these artworks were circulated amongst everyday people, and even how they were, how through these journals they were able to experience the key debates that were going on around art and culture at the time, especially around the dawn of Swadeshi. And what also going to Uttarpara reminded us was the fact that, like Pitadi said, we often think of Calcutta as the epicenter of art and culture in Bengal, but how there were these other regional centers across, like Uttarpara, which was a very important center, but also then we went to Hooghly, which is the next image, to go to the Hooghly Imambara, which is just spectacular. This may have been my favorite day during the city as a museum. We had the privilege of looking at the Imambara and the neighborhood, but also looking at the frescoes that are being created by artists, and the frescoes that are being remade and restored in this beautiful prayer hall. So the frescoes have calligraphic elements, but also floral motifs. And we looked at what the artists are doing to revive this, and also got to try our hand at this traditional fresco making technique using, which again feels like cooking a lot because the base of the fresco is fermented, the plaster is fermented for a month. The paints are prepared almost like a kitchen by grinding, mixing colors, and we got to experience a little bit of that uh, art form. And finally, I often get asked why we do this City as a Museum Festival. This is the second year. And what really gets me excited is this idea that the people who come for the festival become ambassadors for these histories, for these stories, and they pass it on. And this was a very memorable reminder of that. We had the privilege of being in the Victoria Memorial Hall on a Monday when the museum is closed, so we had it all to ourselves. And not only that, we were shown a special collection of artworks from the walls, and we had students and teachers thinking about how these artworks can be used in the classroom. So it's really thanks to wonderful support of partners like Victoria Memorial, like the members of Rutherford Library, like the Tagore family, the countless other families who've been a part of it, that we are able to do this festival and get up close and personal with art. And we're so lucky to be back here and in your homes, on your screens, thinking about how the home is really a repository and perhaps a starting point of our creative expression and also, our histories. So thank you, Shobdushi Insia, Vitali, for extending that conversation into the kitchen.
Thank you. The photographs are lovely. This is the first time I'm looking at many of them. Uh, I wish I could have been there, but we could not make it this time.
You all were working too hard perfecting the Goina Puri, so that's understandable. So thank you for that. But yes, I hope it's nice to be able to reach out to so many more people so they can share a bit of these stories. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shumana. Okay. So, uh, it was very beautiful. Okay. Prithadi,
Yeah.
now I am here with this dala of vegetables. I'll move it forward. This is like the Pachmishali Shobji dala
Or the
for winter.
chachuri,
Chachuri, huh?
and the chachuri. And I would like to say something about this. That look at the how beautiful cut vegetables look, and this cutting vegetables in Bengal, much like the Chinese, was a work of art. Every vegetable, because it's a pachmishali, because there are different vegetables that go into this dish. Each one has a different cooking time, yet each color has to be retained, each texture has to be retained. So, how did they do it? They did it by having this instinctive knowledge of how to finely cut each vegetable in a different shape, hmm, and make this beautiful visual. It was a visual delight because food is also a visual storytelling. And while cutting the vegetables, there were many songs also that came out of it, huh? In the kitchen. So we have folk music as well, like things like হলদি মরিচ বাটিয়া মনের মতন রাঁধিয়া খাইতে দিলাম সোনার বন্ধু খাইয়া গেল না, love, longing. So all this goes into it. And how do we begin making this vegetable with pachphoron? The word phoron comes from the root word is skoton, which means an explosion. So directly giving us this entire connect to human life, the Big Bang Theory, from where everything, the flavors of life and life began. Huh? So it's so beautiful, and it's like when you take when an artist takes many artists take a single object and depict it in their own style. It could be, realism, it could be impressionist, it could be cubist, it could be pop art. So every matriarch in the kitchen, huh, adds her touch, her style, and turns it into her work of art for the family. So,
That's very true.
over to you, Shoptoshi.
Yeah, and in fact, even in our videos, while many people like the fact that we have a large section of the video dedicated just to vegetable cutting, sometimes we find people complaining, that what is the need for making the video longer, but just cutting vegetables. Everyone knows how to cut vegetables. But
No,
the
I
thing
don't.
about Bengali cooking, the thing about Bengali cooking is, at least in my opinion, it's the cutting of the vegetables, the prepping is the most important part of the cooking, far more important than the cooking itself. So I think that is what.
Half the time, half the time cooks don't last in my house because I don't like the way they cut vegetables. So,
Yeah. And I wanted to show this begun, the bota shoho begun, the begun that is fried whole and which is split in the middle. And uh, so the way it is cut, the only reason to keep the bota is for, it looks nicer. So I
no,
think
it also holds the because
holds the begun.
brinjal tends to get mushy, but we need to retain the shape.
Yes.
So it also holds the vegetable.
So I think it's
Yeah.
really beautiful. I think the way, the amount of attention that is given to cutting vegetables in Bengali cooking is important, and it does make a difference to the end result. Even though a
It is
chachori, it may appear that it's a mush, but it's not. There is a lot of
actually,
texture.
I will disagree with you. It's not a mush. A mush is a cant,
Hmm.
what we call a chotchery, because of the way the vegetables are cut with
Right.
precision. It remains, in their shapes, and it retains texture. And a chotchery, the name comes from the chorchor sound that it makes in the ear. So there enough oil has to be added. Exact moment, it has to be fried well, that all the most of the vegetables retain the moisture, but there is no curried moisture around it.
Right.
You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it has to be taken off at the right time,
Right.
and
Even for
not reduced.
labra, I think
Yeah.
Insia is playing the video. The borboti, my grandmother and my mother, they always steam it first and then add it towards the end, because if you
Yes.
fry the borboti from the beginning, it becomes chimche. That's the Bengali word for it.
It loses color. Huh? The various stages to these. It's just not like, oh, you put in all the vegetables
Yeah.
and you make a mash. It's actually not like that. Huh? So,
And I wanted to also demonstrate how kumro is cut for kumro bhaja. This is this is a slice of paka kumro, and I'm going to remove this part.
but this part is also used to make
Use
beautiful bhajis.
Yes, yes. I think in the last Ranna Ghare Ki episode, Koel was giving us a recipe of this kumron nara. So I'm just going to show one piece. Let's say it's about this thick. So for this piece, if it's fried like this, the corners tend to burn because pumpkin has a lot of sugar. So what my grandmother used to do, Thamma used to do, is she would cut these at a bevel. So with that, you have a more rounded structure where there are no sharp corners, and this this kumro bhaja is not going to burn or become black at the corners, and then you make like a fan shaped incisions. and once it's fried, these incisions sort of open up, and it looks really nice. So even for a simple kumro bhaja, the amount of attention that goes into how it is cut, uh, I think it's incredible.
যেটাকে জালি ভাজা বলতো।
এটা জালি ভাজা বলতো?
You do it with kochu and all of that?
না না, this is just তেলে ভাজা। ধরো the লক্ষ্মী পুজোয় the vegetables that are fried, পাঁচটা vegetables.
ওই কচু ওরকম শোলা কচু, you would cut it like that and then make incisions on both sides so that
Yes.
it became like a spring. And then you deep fried it and it looked very beautiful.
So I think all families have different rules and rituals around how vegetables are
Yeah.
cut, and I think all that it shows is there's no right or wrong way, but it's just amount of attention that goes into it.
Attention and the desire to express yourself in fine work. That is very important, When women worked in the kitchen, it was basically the desire to express their creativity. So the finer they cut, the more expert they were considered at their skills.
That is true. Ebare we will talk about Sandesh molds.
Yes. Now this is again another very, very interesting part of Kitchen Chronicles. Sandesh molds, one time, were made by the women themselves. They would chisel on stone to create the molds, the patterns, and some of them were very skilled. Like my great-great-grandmother, I have inherited one of her Sandesh molds. It's about 10 inches in diameter. Yes, this is the one. Thank you for showing it. This is the one. It's about 10 inches in diameter, and every pattern is chiseled and crafted with precision. Because
Pritha, how old is this?
Well, my great-great-grandmother then, must be about more than 100 years old. I'm sure 120, 130 years to big. So, you should have asked me this question earlier, I would have calculated. My maths is not very good. So, it's because they couldn't buy. But again, there was this intense, there was this creativity in them. And so they would make it themselves on wood or on stone. I think this is slate.
This is, I think, clay, burnt clay.
Okay, clay also was used, yes. But I have seen mostly the old ones made of stone or wood.
This is a mix. A part of it is thammas, like my father's mother, and a part is coming from my mother's mother.
We need to separate them out.
We need to separate them. I need to remember which is whose.
The family tree has.
I really like the hash, for example, and I found one yesterday which just says bhulo na.
Oh.
Don't forget. I can only
So what is made by
guess why it
potters
was used.
make it themselves? Were these made by potters or did
I
they
don't
make
know.
it?
These belong to my Thakumar Shashuri, which is my great grandmother. I don't know where she got them. If she must have got it from Desher Bari, which is Dhaka,
So
but I don't know.
they used potters to make it for them,
Maybe.
with their own designs, customized art. Yeah.
And these are just to explain to viewers who may not know about this. The filling in this case is coconut with a bit of khoa kheer and sugar, and it's heated until the sugar is sort of candied and sticky, and then you press them into the molds while they are still hot, and then you take them out. and then you get beautiful duck-shaped sandwich like this.
You know, something very similar also, of course, it's a different art form, is the Nokshi Pitha, which is made with lentil paste, and the patterns are etched onto them with uh, palm leaf needles. You know, and they use that to etch the patterns. That craft still exists in erstwhile East Bengal, which is Bangladesh. It was possibly a more East Bengali kind of craft, because I've looked for it in West Bengal, but I have not found it. And but people are making it in their homes now. I guess it always remained in homes and did not really come out much, but it's still made in Bangladesh. It's Nokshipita. And those are also very beautiful and very fragile. And they are basically lentil paste. And then, where these patterns are drawn onto it. And then they are dried and fried and then put into syrup.
I've seen some videos from Bangla Ranna Ghar, which is a Bangladeshi cuisine channel. Uh, very, very beautiful and almost hypnotic to
Yeah.
watch them being made.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
Acha, I think we are moving on to the next section, which is we are going to talk briefly about Lobongolotika, for which Insia will come here and show us how to make one.
yes, this is among my favorite sweets. You know, so look at the beautifully made parcels and those.
That is a still from our video. Can you, that's okay, I'll just remove this entire board. So what we did was we fried some. Basically, what these are I'll show you how to make it. It has a filling of khoa kheer, just reduced milk. It's filled inside these parcels, and the envelope is sealed with a clove. So these are the unfried ones, and these are the fried ones, and I'll just do one.
So have you kneaded the flour with ghee?
Yes. It's almost like a short crust pastry, right?
Yes.
So it has
It
a
is,
lot of ghee in it.
yes, it is like crust pastry, yes.
And which is why like the layers really
Yeah.
give that effect of a pastry,
Yeah, yeah.
because the wrapping is such that it forms several layers.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, this one, I'll get some water to seal it.
And how long did you let the dough rest?
About 30 minutes, Prithadi.
Okay. And how long did you knead it?
I didn't knead it very long. Like it doesn't need to be really kneaded until gluten formation. Just like I think just like short crust, you just wait for it to come together and then just leave it to rest, and then that does all the work of combining everything
Yeah.
together and making the dough really smooth. ঠিক আছে? এটার মাঝখানে I'll place a kheer.
And the kheer, did you cook it? I mean, down to a crumbly texture?
Yes. Not very crumbly. Just it was, yeah, it was not very crumbly. But I
So
put it in the fridge, so it's hardened.
So this is slow cooked thickened milk,
Yes.
and you put sugar in it.
Yes.
You never use any coconut?
No, not coconut in this one.
Coconut. Okay.
So you can. So I have just wrapped them from either side, and now you can fold them over like this. But what happens is this like the bottom layer has just a single layer right now. So what we do it, instead of wrapping it like this, we turn it over and wrap it on the other side, so that this layer also has enough. This side also has enough layers.
And do you put any flavorings in the filling?
Kheer? No, this one we don't. It's just milk and sugar. That's it.
Milk. That's it.
So yeah, so this is one. All of these, we'll fry these later. So are there any variations in filling, Pritha Dey, that you mentioned coconut
Yeah,
and flavorings?
sometimes in our house when my grandmother used to make it, mostly kheer, but sometimes she would add grated coconut.
Yeah, I can imagine it'll taste very good.
To add that little bit of crunch. So
Yeah.
which is why.
Yeah. And the trick to frying these is that these need to be fried really slowly, like almost like shingara, or in lukewarm oil, bunched together, so that it's not doughy inside. Like this one is completely hard like shingara.
Do you want to buy this one?
It is.
No, I would rather not.
And then do you put it in syrup?
Yes. This is then coated in syrup. Shira.
Yeah. So you fry it and you keep dropping it into the syrup.
Keep dropping it into the syrup and just coating it for a few minutes, and then lifting it off so that it doesn't go soggy again.
Yeah.
I can open one up, should I? Oh, I
Yeah.
know, right? ঠিক আছে.
Why don't you open one and show it to us?
And yeah, okay.
Bite into it because
It will fall apart. So I think I'll cut it.
Yeah, that's it.
let me.
That's so lovely. Yes. That's really lovely.
And this clove, it doesn't do so much as holding it together as in imparting flavor, I think, and looking beautiful.
It imparts actually, it seems just one little
Just
clove
exactly.
imparts a lot
Yeah.
of flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, Pritha, খাচ্ছি একটু.
Yeah.
Yeah. As advertised. It's good.
That was really nice and well done. Very expertly done.
Thank you. So I think we are on time. Everything has gone pretty much on time. I don't think there are questions, Chakrashi. That's okay. Yeah. So yeah, thank you again, Pritha Di, for taking the time today. And since we know that you've been so busy, with your menu creation in Singapore, and we know you've been running around, trying to do calls with us, and also like rushing to the kitchen. So thank you very much for taking the time today.
These are things I love doing, and thank you for having me on the show, Shumona and Shoptoshi and Insia. And seeing you doing it so easily, the Lobongo Lotika, maybe it will go up on my menu here.
Oh wow.
I was scared of doing it, thinking it's a lot of expertise, skill, and time consuming. But you did so easily. I think now I've got a little courage to get into.
But this is embarrassing, Pritha Di. You don't need courage from us. Nah, thank you. Are you headed back to the restaurant now?
Yes.
Oh,
I have
okay.
to go today, and lunch service is furiously on. So I think I'll have to get back soon.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Discussion to make it such a lively session. A recording of this live stream will be up on our channel in case you missed at the same link, in case you know someone who missed it live. Do follow DAG Museum on Instagram to keep up with all the events that they may organize in the future. Pritha Di is on Instagram and Facebook if you want to follow all or any of her many adventures. And that's it. Thank you again for staying on. We hope you have a nice day, and we hope to see you again. Bye.